So, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Aisha, and welcome to our actually third webinar since we started. On behalf of the Atelier, I'd like to welcome you all. Let me tell you a little bit about the Atelier. It's a physical and a virtual space focused on health, healing, and creativity. We take the view that human beings are complex beings, and we don't only function on a level of physical health. There's a component of spiritual, intellectual, a whole host of elements which combine in order to make up our being and which allow us to function. So in terms of the physical space, we're based in Gauteng, in Linden, Johannesburg, where we have some workshops. At the moment, we are running an Arabic calligraphy workshop. And in addition to the creative elements, we also host, I am also a medical doctor practicing in the space. I presently offer intravenous nutrient therapy, and I like to view health as complete and holistic wellness. And as part of this, we've invited Taskeen Jamal, who is a body talk practitioner, to join us today. Taskeen's webinar is the third in our series. Our first was by Nadia Valley, who's also on the call today. She told us about pigment making and a bit about traditional arts. Our second webinar was with Arabic calligraphy teacher, and welcome Taskeen. I'll just tell you a little bit about Taskeen. Taskeen is based in Istanbul, but she's from Durban, South Africa. Taskeen also spent some time in the UK. Taskeen has a background in marketing, and she's now moved on to the health and wellness space, where she works as a body talk practitioner based in Istanbul, but also consulting virtually. Taskeen, I'm just going to enable your screen sharing, and then perhaps you can just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I always like to start with setting an intention. And actually, I'm going to talk about this as a practice. That's something that you can do. So I'm going to just go through the intention for today and what goals we have for ourselves. Then we're going to look at how we can prepare our body and mind for Ramadan. And as part of that, what is body talk and how it can support your health? And how can body talk help you to maximize your gains? And then we're going to have, we can have a discussion, and I like to keep it interactive. So I might ask questions as we go along. And then I will share with you some amazing tools that you can use for yourself as part of your self-care, your health care. So make sure you stay till the end, guys, because the freebies are coming towards the end. And then we'll have questions and answers. But please feel free to ask questions as we go along.
Sure.
Okay, lovely. So what is some of our goals for today? I hope by the end of this to leave you feeling empowered about thinking about your well-being and your health, perhaps in a completely different way or slightly different way, but just to maybe shift your perception in order for you to better support yourself. I will educate you about how body talk as a system of health can support you in your goals. And then, like I mentioned, equip you with a few things you can immediately take away and start implementing as part of your routine, as part of how you take care of yourself. So how it all started is a few years ago, I was having a thought about preparing for Ramadan. And if you had asked me this a couple of years ago, the first thing I would think about is, okay, how packed is my freezer full of savories? And that's an indicator of whether I'm ready for Ramadan or not. Fast forward now, when I have kids, and then if you ask me, are you ready for Ramadan? Then it's about, okay, how is all my Ramadan activities for the children and the decor that I'm meant to be put up ready? Then that means I'm prepared and I'm ready for Ramadan. And I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, I'm being simplistic, but I was just thinking that there's so much that we can do when we're thinking about this important month. And it's, it's obvious why we want to maximize and like really get the most out of this month. I just created this chart that I put together, and then I had it published in a few online publications, actually, like Amalia.com and the Muslim Vibe, just to share perhaps a few angles of what I'm calling a holistic way of preparing yourself and getting yourself in the zone for the month of Ramadan. So I could probably do another whole webinar just on this. So I just wanted to take out a few aspects from this. And I have a few posts on my Instagram page where I explain the physical and the practical side and a whole bunch of things that you can think about for that. I go into detail about the mental side. And then lastly, on the spiritual side. And the whole point of this is about saying, well, we know that, Ramadan is a very special month. We're meant to do so much. But if we don't intentionally go through some thoughts and some goals about exactly for ourselves, what is it that we want to take out? How do we want to be better physically after Ramadan, mentally after Ramadan? Then we can just ramble through and then not really change to the maximum potential that we do have. So this kind of deliberate, purposeful thinking, I love to employ in everything that I do. And I've got a few ideas that you can, look at on my page about Ramadan. So for today, if we go to the next slide, please.
Taskeen, just back up on this slide. I'd like to ask you, is this basically, if you look at an issue or not a problem area, is this the kind of mental, what do you call it, the algorithm or the mental construct that you use to break things down?
You mean through body talk or in
general? The physical, generally, you, as a body talk practitioner or from your general professional perspective, is it the physical and practical, mental and spiritual? Why have you chosen those specific paradigms?
For this, it was just to make it easier to categorize the whole bunch of information. When we say something is holistic, something is wide, it's all inclusive, how can we, kind of shape it for us? From a health perspective, Aisha, we talk about different levels of healing. How each of us, since you asked the question, how each of us, the pyramid, we call it a pyramid of healing, and it's a fascinating way of thinking of ourselves. Where and we use this, this is a perspective we would use in body talk, is that our physical body, if you like, or aspect of us, is right at the base, and it's by the way like 2% of problems, let's say, or issues that you have at a physical level are purely coming from the physical. Above that, we have the mental level that includes your mental health, includes emotions. Then we have what we call the vital body, and that's like your energy system. So when we talk about things like Qi, maybe people are familiar with that word, and how energy flows. Chinese medicine will talk about the meridians. That's the next level. It's getting higher and higher because these things are more and more and more connected. But going to the highest levels, we use the word consciousness, and this is belief systems, not just the ones you hold for yourself, but the ones we share as a humanity, and the ones that come from your ancestors, and the ones that come from that you've inherited. It's all these kind of thoughts and things. They're not physical, they're not tangible, but they're very much a part of us. And every time if you have some sort of symptom, it can show up at any level. But if you're only going to look at the physical, you're missing the rest of the picture that's going up above that. So what we do in Body Talk is that what we get the opportunity to do, I should say, is that to work at really, really high levels. Where is everything coming from? This physical pain you have in your shoulder, yes, it's manifesting in this way, and a muscle imbalance, or I don't know, Aisha, you know all the technical, the medical terms to explain something that might happen, but actually it might be somewhere much higher up in a belief system that you're holding about shouldering responsibilities, for example. And if we get to shed more awareness to you about, hey, you know, here's a new perspective of things. Maybe you do you feel like you need to take on all the burdens, and you're like, yeah, you know, my grandma was also like that. She always thought she needed to solve everyone's problems. And guess what? Through that, you grew up thinking that, hey, this is the way I need to be. And it wasn't serving you. And then eventually it started showing up as a shoulder pain right there at the bottom of this pyramid. So when we are able to treat it or look at it at a higher level, it's a trickle-down effect. Shift the belief system, it shifts the energy flow, it shifts the emotions that you're holding, and guess what? It also shifts the physical, which is this pain in your shoulder.
Okay, excellent. I'm sure you'll tell us a little bit more about that as we get through the
yes. Because you asked about the physical, mental, and I just want to show you how it's all linked.
Of course.
Okay, so like I said, there's so much to talk about from a holistic perspective about how to prepare for Ramadan, and also during the month. What are all the different things we can do? Sometimes all we think about is, I need to do so much Quran, I need to do this. But that is important. But what about the other things that you can also do? What about thinking about your focus? So what about being in the right mental space to be able to have that connection to the Quran, have that connection with Allah? And that's what I mean by looking at it from a wider point of view. So the two aspects I wanted to focus on today, I cough again.
So maybe I can just come in there, Taskeen. Take a moment. Do you have some water next to you? You do, of course. Okay. So I can just come in there a bit. And what Taskeen mentioned about covering like the Quran reading and the salahs, I mean, those are all extremely important. But sometimes in this rush or pressure to actualize these goals during Ramadan, it sometimes just becomes about ticking boxes, you know. And sometimes you're midway through the month or towards the end of the month, and you're wondering where that spirit's gone because you've just been ticking boxes. And I think this, I wonder if Taskeen is going to come in on the mindset element and the mindfulness and being actually present to these rituals that we are going to, inshallah, be engaging in.
Exactly. Okay, so when we're thinking about Ramadan in a week's time or so, inshallah, one aspect that I like to focus on for myself, and I like to employ this in everything that I do, actually, not just Ramadan, but anything, even a conversation or an event or something that I'm going to be attending, is I like to think of, I like to set the intention for myself. What is it that I actually want to gain from this interaction, or from this month of Ramadan, or from this specific event that I'm going for? Excuse me. And you'll be surprised if you ask yourself that question, how sometimes it's not that easy. You just thought you were going to go and just, rock up, do something. But it's only when you start thinking about it that you're starting to become more specific, more purposeful about it. And then you can start gearing yourself up to be in the right way. Because the next question I would ask myself is, okay, this is what I intend for Ramadan this year, depending on where I am in my life right now. I want to, for me this year, I want to understand the Quran more. So my intention is that I want to have that deeper understanding. The next question would be, excuse me, what mindset do I need then as a result of this? And it might be, I need a mindset of not being distracted. Or it might say, I need a mindset of being able to study, because I actually want to sit and study this Quran this time, or something like that. So these two things, I could talk about many things, but these are the two things I think really, really help me. For example, if I was having a difficult conversation with someone, which sometimes it happens when in a professional setting or even a personal setting, I always just bring it back before I say anything, before I do it, before I approach anything. It's okay, what's my intention right now? And sometimes I love to laugh at myself. It's like your intent, you can't have an intention of saying, oh, I just want to let her know what I need to say right now. No, it forces me to say, well, obviously, I want an intention of a win-win, and I want this to be something constructive. And that really guides the flow and, the perspective of what I'll be taking. And then I'll ask myself, okay, what's the mindset I need now to have this challenging conversation? Okay, I think it has to be, I have to have a mindset of openness because I need to listen to the other side today. And then, boom, it makes things so much more, so much easier and so much more effective. And that's the whole point here, is how can we gain the most out of it? So
Taskeen, do you think, I'm sorry for interrupting, do you think it needs to be something as tangible as writing it down? Because as I'm listening to you now, I'm thinking perhaps it would be a good idea if I myself or anyone, our participants over here could sit with a pen and paper. I know some people are averse to this type of sort of like planning, but I'm thinking for me right now, to concretize it so that it's not this pie in the sky idea, I'm actually going to, as you're speaking, sit and write it down. Would this be beneficial at all?
That's an awesome idea. That's an awesome idea. And if people want to share it with us in the chat, that would be even more helpful, because then you can just inspire others to think about maybe they haven't.
Oh, now so much pressure. Not only do you have to write, but
if you want. Okay. If you want. Otherwise, yeah. So I invite everyone, if you've got something nearby, even your phones, to write it down. What's your intention for Ramadan? This Ramadan. I had some ideas for myself, but I need to just get into the zone to be clear and be realistic also.
This is also what I'm going to mention, because I know amongst many mothers and women, well, men too, who have the responsibility, other responsibilities as well. But I know moms with young kids, you often enter Ramadan, and from the get-go, you're like, it's sort of the self-defeating attitude, like you had such hopes, and then you actually can't achieve these goals, and then everything falls flat. So perhaps also in terms of goal setting, that what you said, to be realistic, and maybe do fewer things with greater mindfulness, perhaps.
Exactly. It's definitely never about the quantity, but it's about how much you can really truly give of yourself to get the most out of it. Because if your intention is clear for yourself, this is what I actually, and everyone's will be different, and that's the beauty of it. If your intention is clear, then it's going to flow into what the actions that you are actually going to be doing. If my intention for Ramadan is to slow things down. Part of mine was to do that, actually, was to take on less, and to be, and through that, inshallah, the rituals and the things that I'll be doing will flow from there. But my overall intention will remain the same for the whole month. I just want to take things slow. And Ramadan just gives me a beautiful chance to do that, because otherwise I'm not going to take things slow.
Sure.
Okay. So that's something you can also work on afterwards. Is anybody sharing anything? No. Okay. So looking at the physical, the mental, the spiritual side of preparing and being in the month of Ramadan, I would put Body Talk, this healthcare system, under each of them, because it's one of the things you can do to get yourself into the best kind of shape, physically, mentally, to support your spiritual side, of course. So we're going to get into the part of this presentation where we talk about what is Body Talk. Some of you might have experienced it or heard of it, or some of you might not have any idea what we're talking about. So you're in the right place. I'd love to share this with you. So Body Talk is okay, I'll tell you what is the definition that I give to my 4-year-old at the time. Why is my picture turned around?
I don't know.
It's okay. So I would explain to her, Mommy's doing Body Talk. And what does that mean? Body Talk helps you to heal faster, so you can feel as strong and as healthy as you would like to be. And all of these words are specifically chosen. And that is Body Talk. It's about your health, and it's about your healing, and it's about what you want and what you would like to feel. So what does that mean? A more formal definition, slightly more formal definition, is Body talk is an integrated, okay, so it's an all-inclusive, all-in-one. Another word would be a holistic body and mind system of healthcare that supports your body's ability to heal itself at all levels, at a physical level, a mental level, emotional level, energetic level. And this is so that you can achieve the greatest level of health that you desire and that you want for yourself. Body talk is, and I'm going to explain how it works and things like that, but that's basically what it's doing. It's an all-encompassing approach to looking at your health, and it's allowing you and facilitating your body's own ability to heal, accelerating it, boosting it in order for you to reach optimal health and find your point of balance. So Body Talk is science-based. It was just the slide before that, please, Aisha. Yeah, we'll stay here for a while. Body Talk is science-based. It was designed by Dr. John Beltime in the 1990s. He's a chiropractor and a lecturer in Brisbane at a college of complementary health medicine. So he studied many, many different kinds of healing modalities. So from the Eastern medicine point of view, as well as his own background in Western medicine, he incorporates osteopathic medicine, and one of his specialities, he was an acupuncturist as well. So traditional Chinese medicine, bringing this all together in a really, really novel model for health and well-being that really respects and understands how our bodies are this dynamic system of how everything is integrated and works together. So by bringing all these different philosophies and viewpoints in, it gives us a much wider understanding of what makes up health and what contributes to people feeling the way they are, and therefore healing and becoming better and achieving the health that they desire. So there's also, I should mention, the science part is neuroscience, epigenetics, quantum physics. This is all incorporated to make this a really, really effective healthcare system. And it's not just a therapy, and it's not just one thing, it's a system, because we have a process that we follow, as well as all these different backgrounds of perspectives that are included in this. Mute. So the question you might have is, okay, if our bodies can heal, why do we need to support it? And why do we get sick then? Like, how does that actually work? So the first thing to understand and to believe is that the way Allah has created us is that our bodies have an unlimited capacity to heal themselves at any point and any level, if it's under the right conditions. For example, a very simple example. When you get cut, a whole series of events kicks off in your body. The brain is sending messages, something's out of balance here, blood cells arrive at the scene, repair work starts to happen, your skin is rebuilding. Emotionally, whatever you felt at the time of that cut, the emotions start to move around as you start processing and just coming to terms, okay, this is what has actually happened. Every part of you is getting the message that they need to respond, and they do this in the right way, in the right order, and completely, without you having to step in and do anything. This inborn kind of wisdom, this understanding of how to heal is built into us, and it's just the way our bodies actually operate. And we can see this happening all the time. You will heal from the cut, balance is restored, and you go back merrily with your day. But what happens sometimes? Maybe the next slide, please, Aisha. So that's if everything is going okay. Okay. Sometimes if you had a prolonged period of stress, for example, okay, these are only examples. There can be many, 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 many different things, countless things. If you've had sudden trauma, pandemics, if you've been carrying limiting beliefs and certain patterns and coping behaviors, if you've had some issues in relationships, stress, work, whatever, and it kind of like building. I don't know if you won't be able to see my arrow, but I'm pointing to all the bubbles. It builds up over time. So it's just going to be adding and adding and adding if you're doing nothing about it, right? And you're going to reach a point, this red bubble, this kind of threshold point, where this awesome dynamic system of communication that's happening in your body all the time, it's still going to be there, but it's going to slow down a bit. Not every part is getting the message about different things because some parts are overloaded and they can't go beyond the job that they're actually doing at all levels, at a physical and mental, whatever they meant to be doing. Suddenly, there's not that perfect harmony in your body anymore. And you feel it. You know when you're out of it. This is what I'm talking about now. You don't heal as fast. That same cut, if you got cut under these circumstances, in a simple way, just won't heal as fast. It might not heal completely at all. And then it carries on and, you builds up over to another point. These are
Taskeen,
all...
If I can just come in there, and a penny just clicked. I mean, we've talked about body talk constantly. We talk about it, and I'm sorry, penny just dropped. It's a different paradigm of viewing the body, right? So, for instance, and it just clicked now because, for instance, it could be that we view the body as some people view this body. I mean, if you have a chronic illness, sometimes you feel like my body is working against me. So it's a mindset that you bring to a body that it's you versus body, right? Or it's that my body can't manage this, or my body won't be able to heal. But what you're saying is that the body itself can be viewed as this element that moves towards perfect harmony, has all the tools to get it there towards harmony. And by body, you're obviously not separating the mind and body. You're seeing it as a totality and the spirit, etc., etc. And what you're saying is that there are circumstances, conditions, underlying elements that limit that pathway to healing. Okay, so it just took us 3 years to get here. And what the job of the practitioner is, or through body talk, it's removing all those other limitations. So not only are you treating the symptom, which is the cough, you're going much further back so that other elements don't manifest, or that the pathways towards healing is smoother.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
Just to say, though, these circumstances, these things that you're saying that are limiting your bodies or slowing down your healing, they're not outside of you. They're not happening to you. Everything at the end of the day is actually your perception, your relationship to. It's not this teacher that shouted at me. No, it's your perception of what happened. So that's the only thing. So it's all still you.
So I'll come in there just to make it more tangible for anyone who's not really familiar. So in certain sessions, perhaps I know once something like money came up. So whereas a patient might come into my consultation room and say, I just can't afford to be better. It's just, it's pandemic and everyone's suffering from a financial point of view, and it's just the money, and those are my circumstances, so I just can't, right? Mm-hmm. So I know through body talk, what you did when it comes to money is that you view it just as an element, or could you explain a little more in terms of that tangible example, like how I would say money is external, but you would say it's my view of money.
Yeah. It's your relationship to money. So it could come up as we use the word priority. So say it came up in a session that, hey, this is something that's really important right now to address for you. It could be we are balancing your relationship to money. You might think, you might have a belief system around money. We all hold so many belief systems around money. It's one of the biggest, not biggest, but it's one of the major stresses for us. I must have a lot of money, it means this to me, or I'll never be rich, or so many different things. So we're always balancing your perception of money, your relationship with money. It could be there was an event that happened in your life, we picked that up, and that triggered this whole thing off. The angle we take, I'll never know. It's no diagnosis. It's particular to you at this moment in time. What is this best opportunity to help you to heal? And if money came up, it could come up in a variety of ways.
So I'm not coming to you as a practitioner saying, Taskeen, I'm stressed out about my money and this is it. No, I'm coming to say, Taskeen, I have this constant lethargy, and then you will say, okay, money has come up during your session. Is this it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be, or it could be someone. It could be that, you know what, this is really bringing me down, something with money, and we will address it your body will knows what's right, and it will address it in the right way. So it could be we directly talk about money. It could be we actually talking about something else, talking about confidence, and that's helping you through money.
Sure.
It's that
Thanks.
complex.
Yes.
Okay, so we were talking here about what happens now. This build up. You reach this point, this threshold. Your healing system is now compromised to an extent, and now it starts to show up as symptoms. So on the next slide, we will see. We always talk about the iceberg in body talk. This is the simplest ways to explain what we do. Your symptoms that you feel, right? So a symptom is basically like pain or stress, overwhelm, dis-ease, the labels that we give to certain conditions. Any of these are, for us, just the tip of the iceberg. What's below the surface? The whole part that we can't exactly see, but that is very, very much part of this picture of your health, right? So now I'm pointing to the bottom. This bottom of this iceberg is the rest of your story. All the different influences coming from your relationship to money, coming from your the way you are in your environment, though coming from another part of your body that's having some imbalance, coming from emotions that you stored when you were 2 years old that didn't exactly get processed at that time because you just didn't have the capacity or whatever. Whatever is going on here are what we call the underlying causes, or just basically where all your main stresses are actually coming from. It shows up as a tip of the iceberg, but beneath this is a whole new different story.
But Taskeen, if you're going to work down there at the bottom, theoretically, there'd be fewer of the things coming up on the surface now and later?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So we say we don't just work on symptoms, we work on the causes and thereby treat the symptoms. But especially Western medicine, the focus is always on the symptom, the tip of the iceberg.
I was just going to say this. I was absolutely just going to say this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's, that's what we do when we're taking a Panadol when we have a headache. It's helping. Yes. Oh, I feel great. Yeah, sure you do. But all you've done is just treated the tip of the iceberg. The symptom, you feel good.
Sometimes not even treating. Sometimes, I'm a proponent of Western medicine, as you know.
Yes,
but sometimes you're suppressing it to a large extent, like literally autoimmune conditions. Clear link to psychosocial elements, stresses, emotional stresses, and we're literally giving you immunosuppressants, so you're just masking symptoms. Antidepressants, we're masking, but very rarely do we get to the bottom of things. Exactly. Physiologically and otherwise. Yeah.
And that's why for the headache, you'll take and there's a rule for it, because you have a very important meeting or something, you take your pill, it helps you get through that moment, and then sometimes that's important and it's fine. But that's why I say it works together. But suddenly that same headache that got triggered by something comes back the next week and the next week and the next week, and this, you realize this is not a way to live. Something deeper is going on. You might even use these words sometimes and say, there's something more here. My doctor's not giving me, like, you're just realizing that there's, you want to get to the bottom of it. And that's what we mean by this iceberg. So in a session of body talk, looking at this green box here, my focus is here, this bottom of the iceberg. Where are your best opportunities for healing in order for you to reach the goals that you set for yourself, which is something we would discuss, your health goals, your physical goals, your mental goals. And so that we can restore balance, so that we can move you to optimal health, where your body is perfectly able to heal and deal. And these opportunities can be things like, we've spoken about a few of these already. But for example, do we have an opportunity today to support even greater function of an organ in your body. So this is where Western medicine will come in. Or do we have an opportunity today to help you to let go of an old experience and that's still giving you an emotional reaction today? And you're no longer in that circumstance, but why are you still having that reaction? Okay, do we have an opportunity to help you to let go of those limiting beliefs about money that you hold? Why do you have this? So that you can be free, so that you don't have the stress that you've been experiencing so far. Do we have an opportunity to shift a thought pattern that you've been having? Okay, similar kind of idea. Do we have an opportunity to support you to feel at ease in your environment? This comes up so often. Any of these. And that's basically what we're doing in a body talk session. So we come up with a couple of these opportunities. We use the word priority. This is what's ideal for you right now in order to restore that same balance we're talking about, in order to supercharge your healing, in order to get you back on track and to your next level of health that you desire.
What was interesting for me, Taskeen, when I first did a session with you, is that body talk is both diagnostic and therapeutic at the same time. So it's identifying elements and at the same time shifts and supports elements that need shifting.
It is kind of, Aisha, we don't like to say that we're actually diagnosing because we're not treating conditions. We're not giving you any labels of anything. We're simply identifying what are the influences on your health. And it's never saying it's this one thing causing this one thing. We'll never even know that. We're just saying, here, there's a bunch of things that contribute to your story. And the penny will drop from yourself, from your own subconscious mind is going to make these connections and say, oh, yes, this is what it means to me. So I'll say, today we're supporting you in, feeling expansive about your life, maybe starting things, and you're like, from a career point of view, this is what it means to me. I'm actually starting a new job. Or you'll say to me, yes, I actually want to learn a new art skill. I signed up at the atelier, for example. So it's always you and what that means for you. It's never me saying, hey, this is what I think is happening for you. So again, a paradigm shift in healthcare.
I don't think I can conceptualize it right now. I think I need to deal with it a bit more.
Okay. It's basically giving you an idea of a few things that have been influencing you so far, but it's never saying this is the one thing. Because I'm not expert to know that. I'm just reading your story and telling you what's being reflected at this moment in time. Now, so the bottom of the iceberg, we found the opportunities for your healing at this moment in time. Now, it's healing to return you to a point. It's not saying healing, cure. We'll never use these words. And this is the end of the story. Healing is a journey. Healing is an experience. We always want optimal health. There's always an opportunity to get to. That's why I like to use the word level of health, Aisha, because it's never going to be perfect health just like that. So what's your next level of health? What's your next level of health? Whether you're sick and you want to go higher, or whether you're feeling great and you want to be even better, you want to do sport, it's always your level of health getting you up. And things will always, healing goes like this because now something else happened. And, so this is the kind of journey. Once we find these opportunities, we then further facilitate moving and shifting your health using a few techniques that are very unique to body talk. We use certain tapping on specific parts of your body. We use hand placements as focus, because we're trying to shift and bringing awareness to which part of your body today needs attention. And we use breathing, which just helps to make you feel more present, make you feel more connected. And this is one of the things I'm going to be teaching, going through a bit later as well for you, to teach you how to become more aware of your breath. So these techniques are basically helping you and to become more aware, helping your body and mind to become more aware of the opportunities that we've identified today. Because once your mind and your body is able to say, hey, so this is where I need to pay attention to. You remember, it's very overwhelmed. We were talking about this. Your organs, your lungs, for example, has been taking so much of emotions in there over so long, and now it's overwhelmed. So we're just saying, hey, take a look here. This is the best part for you to look at. And then that's how what we're doing when we're doing this is shifting perspective. Your body, the reason you're feeling this pain, the stress, this disease is because the focus has been on the pain, the dis-ease, the whatever you're holding about that. We're shifting. The tapping is doing this. The awareness that we found these opportunities is helping. Shifting from stress mode. So we would say your nervous system is in sympathetic nervous system is activated. It's fight or it's flight. It thinks that I need to survive right now. All your resources are going into that. We're shifting to the green box, which is the parasympathetic nervous system mode, healing mode, where your body is able to rest, to digest. That inborn wisdom is there already. No one has to recreate it. Allah has done that already. But now it gets a better chance to shine and start to reevaluate their health for you. Start to shift, start to change. The blood cells I was talking about when you get cut, the whole process can now happen at a faster rate, at a better rate, at a more ideal state.
What you're saying is reminding me of what we believe about that state of fitra, right? So it's there and it's a light that's constantly shining but gets masked or dimmed, you know. So it's just removing those masks and filters.
Exactly. So Aisha, just to stay on this one, before I tell you a story about the next slide. So what is happening so what's the process of things going on here? You come to me, this is the areas of concern. Here's my goals, what I want to feel. We through the techniques and what I'm trained in, I'm able to read and find out, okay, here's your best opportunities for healing. We're doing some tapping, we are doing some breathing, and that's just refocusing. Your nervous system is refocusing, your mind is refocusing away from dis-ease and now focusing on health. How can I repair? How can I heal? And your natural harmony in your body is restored, let's say. So I'm not creating anything, but your own body is coming back to its ideal point. And that's how it can start accelerating and moving towards your health goals. What you will feel, again, as a result of all of this is different and depends on you. Physically, you might feel more energy, or you physically, your conditions, whatever kind of diseases that you would have, the symptoms from that can also improve. Mentally, you might feel clarity, or you might feel the ability to take on more and feel less triggered by things. This happens. This is a very, very common thing. Emotionally, you might feel a lot more stable, a lot more, or the other way around, you can feel a lot more connected. And now, I'm actually able to reach out and have better relationships. Every level, physically, mentally, emotionally, with your environment, anything is possible, because it's basically your body is in a more ideal position and it's in its natural balance state. And spiritually, of course, and we'll talk about that as well.
Should I move on?
So the next slide is...
And I'm sorry, somehow as yours translated to my computer, the slide turned around. So
okay, you can't appreciate the beauty of the scene.
We'll just adjust our perspective.
Yeah, everybody just turn this way.
Yeah.
If there's any questions, just feel free to... you can put your mics on if you like, or just put it in.
Yeah, I was going to tell you. So, Taskeen, you're going to I have a big apology. It seems somewhere lost in translation between the event hosting platform and here, a link broke somewhere. Because a few people are messaging me on the site to say, is there a recording? I couldn't enter. So I know, I'm just as sad, but I'm going to edit this video as soon as I possibly can. And then we'll send it through to others, right? So because we're a nice intimate group, we can actually open the mics and maybe discuss a bit more then.
Okay. Shall we pause for that, or?
It's okay. People can unmute yourself.
Feel free to. Yeah, cool. Okay, so this scene is my journey with Body Talk helped me to have this beautiful holiday in Oludeniz in Turkey. It's on the coast. So how and what happened there? About a year ago, in one of my own personal Body Talk sessions with my practitioner, something came up which was about letting go. And she says, you put a lot of resources and time into like researching things, and you're spending so much time in like getting this perfect solution about things, and you know, can you resonate with that? I'm like, yeah, I I have this habit that is always, actually, I was listening to her recording and I was thinking, yes, this is exactly it. I always feel like if I want to find something like a holiday destination or school for my kid or any even small things, I must get the perfect, in inverted commas, because it doesn't exist, the best kind of solution. And I will, that might be okay, but what it was taking out of me, what pressure it was putting on me, on physically on my body, mentally, and how it was distracting me, was starting to show up and slowing my natural healing. So because I would do this, I would spend hours. So, when you're looking for a holiday, Aisha, like on booking.com or whatever, and you scroll through
Yes.
pages, I won't lie to you. I used to go through every single page. It's ridiculous now that I think about it. But I would do that because I would always believe, no, I have to cover all my bases. This is how I was thinking. This is my perception of things. So what does that mean? It was taking a lot of time. And actually, the balance was off because I was putting so much of energy into that planning. And sometimes things won't even manifest because you overplan and then the event or something doesn't happen. And then I was going through a series of disappointment, all happening below the surface. I didn't even know this was happening. Or in the case of the holiday, I was putting so much energy and planning into that by the time it came to going on this holiday or whatever else, then like you almost like, defeated, or you're just not feeling exactly as excited because so much went into it. And this was for me. This was my state at that moment. But the opportunity came to be able for my mind, my brain to say, to shift and to say, okay, I don't need to go into so much. This is an opportunity to let go here. And I didn't understand when she said that. I'm like, I'm not sure what you mean, because I love planning and I think it's really important. But I let it be and I allowed it. And a few months later, without realizing it, I was looking for this holiday, and I realized that I stopped. I didn't have to go to page 400 or whatever. At some point, I stopped looking at options, and I was okay. I found 3 great options. I narrowed it down, and that was the point that I stopped at. And I just gave my husband, okay, just give me your opinion about these 3. I didn't, because they met my criteria, I didn't have to go and look for even better or whatever else and then just go down a whole rabbit hole. And that's when it clicked for me. I was like, this is what she was talking about. The ability for me to let go, not pour all my energy into this, spend the minimum time required, found those options, chose this beautiful one, and alhamdulillah, we had an amazing holiday. And never having to look back at, okay, what if there was something better or anything else. And for the last year, this kind of new perspective is what I've been carrying through everything. Whenever I'm looking for something, choosing something, I just find as soon as it meets my criteria, just move on.
That's amazing.
It was amazing.
That's incredible. I know you well.
Yeah. Yes. Letting go is my challenge. But this is an example of how how body talk in action and what is what is possible.
Sure.
Okay, there's no questions. We can go on to the next part. Okay, so if you've got a better understanding of body talk as a health and healing system, then it will naturally flow how body talk can help you to get the most out of the month of Ramadan, either preparing before or even during the month. So the first thing is that if you're starting Ramadan with being in an optimal state and not being in this compromised state where you've got so many things accumulated and you're feeling tired, you're feeling lack of focus and things already, then whatever comes in a month, which is it's a month of a lot of changes, it's a month of your eating habits, your sleeping habits, even your whole a mental state, it's going to be a whole bunch of changes. Most people, I took a poll last year or something on Instagram. What's your kind of your biggest challenge or thing you really like to work on or wish would be different for Ramadan? And people say energy levels. So if you're starting already, with low energy levels, you've been so tired from different things, then it's going to make that adapting that much harder. As a result, it can feel a bit more stressful, and you might get frustrated. You're not going to get the most out of the month. But if you supported yourself with your health, if you've had a body talk session, for example, then it means you're going to have a better base. You're going to be we talk about health as being the ability to adapt. So you're going to be in a better form to be able to adapt to the changes from fasting. And, as a result, you might also feel more improved energy levels as a result of that. So that's one benefit, I would say. Another is because what we're working on is your mind and your mindset, and really supporting the function of your mind. It's naturally going to be that you're going to be feel much more clarity. You're going to be able to focus, and this is definitely going to help you to really maximize whatever efforts and whatever actions that you're taking in the month, because you're not going to be like reading Quran here and then worrying about something else. It's actually going to help you to we talk about this, being more present. And really what that means when it comes to rituals and things is be having more connection and feeling that spiritual depth. And that comes from the ability to focus as part of that, I would say. And the last thing is a very interesting idea, is that I do believe that body talk can support your spiritual goals. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're going to be identifying where your stresses are coming from, if you're going to start to understand, like for me, for example, if I now got a new understanding of, this is what I wasn't able to let go of, that's becoming and giving me more self-awareness. I'm trying to understand myself, and I'm starting to look back at all the things I've done in the past and have a much better appreciation of that. This self-awareness in Islam, however, is grounded. It's not ego-centered as, okay, I need to know myself and I need to connect and do what with that. No, in Islam, our self-awareness has a purpose, and that's linked to our purpose for existence and our creation. And that is to connect to Allah, to please Allah, to worship Him, and to attain Jannah, inshallah. So by having this self-awareness, it's going to help you to understand yourself much more in order for you to fulfill all the spiritual goals and all the duties that you need to do in order to ladder up to your higher purpose, which for us as Muslims, it's just so crystal clear, so simple. And this is one of the steps, I would say, the rungs in the ladder to be able to get to that point. Is there anything else here? And I want to give another example, Aisha, about how body talk supported one of my clients in her spiritual goals. Are we okay for time?
You see, we did start at about 10 past, so we can go on for a few more minutes, but perhaps, sure, there's still a bit to go through.
We got to the two techniques. So shall we just move on to the techniques? We can do that.
Okay, sure.
Okay. If we have time, I'll tell you the story about the client and how she was reading Quran after body talk. Okay. So I've been talking a lot. Let's start breathing. Okay, so one of the ways to connect, to get more awareness of yourself, to just feel yourself, is through your breath. And it's something I do in every single body talk session before we start, just to bring a more understanding for your client about where they at with their health right now, using breath as a way to understand that. So I'm going to invite everyone to join me in taking a few breaths, and we're going to take some note of this. If you have a pen and paper nearby, that would be great, because you're just going to take some notes about it, or just put it into your phone if you've got that near you as well. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to please close your eyes. Now, I can't see you, but that's what we're doing now, is we're going to close our eyes, and you're going to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. If it helps, you can count to 3 or 4, okay? So going in, 1, 2, 3, and out, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Let me do that so I can see what I am feeling right now. Okay. So I just want you, when you're ready, to observe what's going on with your breath. How does your inhale versus your exhale feel? And please, if you want to share it in the chat, you want to talk, we're a small enough group for you to do this. Is your inhale and your exhale balanced? Or is one easier than the other? Are they smooth? Is it happening in one go? Or is it stepped? That's what my inhale is feeling like right now. So it's going in one stage and then at another stage. That's not as smooth as it could be. Okay, thank you for sharing, Nadia. Okay, so your inhale, feeling more difficult. Yeah. All of this are clues. We talk about listening to your body. That's what body talk is about. It's listening to your body. And they're giving you clues as to what's going on. If only we would just slow down and pay attention, it would avoid so much more. Constraint. Okay. So another thing I can tell you about breath is our breathing is, of course, keeps us alive. It's important for oxygen and flow and things like that. But breathing also plays a much, much more deeper, more holistic role as well. Breathing is allowing for your brain to scan all the different, we say, frequencies, all the different levels in your body. And this is how healing is working. So if your breath is optimized, then that scanning is going to be more optimized. Your brain is going to be able to find out where's things needing attention, what could be better. And when you're exhaling, now that is allowing your brain to understand, to start fixing all the different things that need attention. So this is how this healing is going all the time. This is one role of breathing. So the interesting thing is a lot of people are feeling there's room for improvement, let's say, in your inhale. Inhaling represents getting in touch with your life, getting in touch with yourself. Maybe you feel like you're not putting yourself totally out there for whatever reason or something like that. This is what breathing in represents. Breathing out represents your ability to let go. So those of you that are feeling your exhale a bit better, great. And then this is just giving you a clue. There's some room for improvement on getting in touch. Is there something more you could be doing? And that's your inhale. So another tip I can give you is that try practicing some deep breathing a few times a day. We pray 5 times a day minimum. How about you take 1 or 5 deep breaths at every salah, for example, before your salah, before you get into actually starting your salah. Somebody else gave me this idea. You can do it during the azan. Use that chance. But what are we doing? We're running around before while the azan is on, so we like quickly get something done. But I sometimes I like to do this. I'm like, ooh, that's my reminder to slow down. Let me get in touch with myself in order that I can be in a better state to get in touch and be connected with Allah in my salah. So what do we think about this? Any revelations, any ideas coming to mind about this? At the end of a body talk, so we do this at the start, at the end, and there's almost always some shift, some change. And you're also going to notice this. So just keep a note of this because we're going to do the tapping technique and then you're going to review your breath again afterwards. And inshallah,
so this is for a person who hasn't done body talk. This is not body talk as such. It's a body talk tool, right?
Correct.
Breathing. Okay. It's a modality, one of the modalities.
One of the techniques. Facilitates your healing, let's say. It's part of it's a system. So it's a few things we would do, and this is part of it. Okay, there's no other questions. Aisha, let's go on to the next slide, please. Okay, what's going on here? So now I'm going to teach you a technique to balance your brain. Who would like to balance their brain? Your cortex of your brain is the outermost part of your brain, responsible for a higher mental function, reasoning, planning, your response to your different senses, and a whole bunch of different duties that this brain actually does. It's divided into different lobes, 4 of them, and each one is supporting a specific function, again, contributing towards controlling your body and your reactions and how you're responding. So all there's 2 aspects here. All dis-ease in your body is reflected in the brain. So therefore, if our brain is supported, it's going to have a massive impact on the rest of your body as well. Now, another interesting thing is that this cortex of your brain is divided into two. There's a right side and the left side. You might notice in the picture, the left side is all about logic, analysis, sequence, order, going like this. It's also all about the past and the present, the past and the future. It allows you to plan. Your right side of the brain, this is the more creative side, your intuition, open-mindedness. There's a lot of flow with this. More art and music. This is when Aisha is in a art space. She's really activated and the creativity is flowing. Actually, when creativity is flowing, you're probably using both left and right. But and just having that feel for, okay, I feel like using this pigment at this moment. That feel is your right brain. Now, what's really important is that if we can use both hemispheres of our brain in an optimal way, that's giving us the maximum potential for how to use our brain. We're able to get the logic from the left brain that can look at sequence with the feeling and the intuition and the total lateral thinking of the right brain together. So we can see past, present, future all at once. That's how you are very, very able to slow down, to be present, to see the bigger picture, to have an understanding. You know you need to take, like I'm using your art as an example, you know you need to take a specific brush stroke in this particular way. That's your left brain. That's the knowledge that you have. But the feeling of how it's going to flow on the page and the color you would use, that's coming from your right brain. But when you're in the zone, when you're in this and it's just going, you're using your right and left in a most optimal, most perfect way. Now, most of us tend to use and be very concentrated on one side of our brain. Usually, it's the left brain, but it's never a diagnosis to say, this is what you're doing, right? But most of us, because we just so much on, must be tangible, must be black and white, it's not making sense to me. And then we're shutting off this right brain that can give us this bigger picture. So this body talk cortices technique, it's called, is designed to help you to bridge these two sides together to optimally use your brain. It is designed to help you to feel clarity. Maybe then the next page will just give you a few benefits here. The next slide, please. Feel calm. Yes, so feel more calm, feel more relaxed, because now your brain is functioning better. Think more clearly, more balanced. Sometimes you might actually have an overwhelming amount of information. This is maybe your right brain is like, overly activated and now you can't make sense of things. You need the left brain to help you to put things in order. This is what I mean. Improves your focus, right? Better able to handle stress because you can see the bigger picture. And it's, very much part of kickstarting your healing by getting you in a more optimal state. So now I'm going to teach you how to use this technique. We're going to have one hand. Yeah, so we're going to focus on the different lobes. We can leave this slide. It's okay. We're going to focus on the different lobes of your brain. And another hand is going to be doing tapping. Okay. Tapping is a technique we use. It is facilitating. It's just your body to look at these opportunities for healing. So it's just saying, wake up, tapping on the head to wake up the brain. And I'm going to talk to the different tappings. So if you take the different points, if you take one hand like this, again, I can't see everyone to correct you or anything, but you can just follow me here. Place it at the back of your head, your occipital lobe. Okay, so at the back of your head, just like this. The hand placement is a focus. So we're just focusing your mind to this opportunity for healing, which is using both hemispheres of your brain. That's all we're doing here. The tapping, so now you're going to tap on your head. That is to alert your brain to take a look at this area of your body. And then you're going to tap on your heart. That is to store the message in your heart center. And then you're going to tap over your belly button. Don't look at my tummy. And that is your gut brain. And that is to integrate, to settle everything in place. So we say we have three brains. thinking is not only happening here. Thinking is also happening in your heart center. It's like it's the knowing, it's the intuition, and thinking is also happening in your gut.
And to see the gut, it's not as well airy fairy as initially we say gut brain. Like the observable science or the empiric science also talks about the gut brain axis. And a lot of the IBS, GIT things are moving towards this brain-gut axis. Even gastroenterology as a specialty, yes, there's a stronger emphasis on this.
Exactly. And now it's about getting all these brains in alignment so that you're coming from a place of thinking something, knowing something, and then making the decision in the gut. So this is how it's all connected. It's fascinating. Okay, guys, so we did one hand placement, one part of the lobe of your brain. Now you're going to the next one. And you're going to be tapping again. You can tap for 2 breath cycles, in and out. So that is an idea. It's a gauge. You can tap for 5. It doesn't matter, but I'm just giving you an example. And you're going to keep systematically moving through, each time focusing on different part of your lobe. And I've just put that up on the slide. You don't have to think about this, but it gives you an idea of the different functions of each part of your brain.
Taskeen, would this tapping be as effective if I didn't know what it's meant to or supposed to do?
That's a very good question, Aisha. This particular technique, yes, it's kind of got this like built up, what can we say? Power, because the awareness of what this tool and how it's supporting your health is like kind of like built into it already over time. It's such a powerful technique. However, in a body talk session, it's really important that the client is a very active participant in this, because I'm not a healer. Allah is the ultimate healer, but the healing is coming from your body the way He's designed it. So you have to believe it. You have to understand it. I will explain things to you so your subconscious can make these connections about what this is meaning for you. And therefore, it's very the challenge is for me, because I got to like really help you to understand what aspect of your health we're supporting today. And that can get, it can get quite complicated sometimes. There's a lot of stories going on and things like that. But yes, it's very important that you do understand it in general. Okay, so I'm going through each part. I'm tapping on my 3 brains. When I come here, it's okay to tap over your hand. Remember, it's all just focus. And then the last part is your temporal lobes of your cortex of the brain. So you let go of one hand, tapping again. And tapping is just setting things into motion. So your body can take over from here. You've made a bridge across the right and left hemispheres so that information can flow better. You're getting a bigger picture. And should feel really calm and really very cool afterwards. So what we're going to do is just take one, just close your eyes, please, everyone, and take a deep breath in and out. Aisha, you didn't join us in the courtesy, so we can't evaluate your breath afterwards.
Sorry, I've just been trying to
but you can do it after.
Yeah.
Okay. So take a deep breath in and out, guys. Again, inhaling through your nose. Out through your mouth. And now tell me what you feel. Honestly, my inhale feels a bit smoother. Remember I said mine was stepped. I'm feeling like it's flowing in. Alhamdulillah, feels a bit more balanced for sure. Then again, I'm tapping myself every day. If you want to share, please put it in the chat box. This technique is ideal for you to do at least once a day. Say you do it at the start of your day to, great Nadia, to kickstart your day. You're going to be in a great position. You can do it at night to help you sleep better. So it works both ways, not just about giving you energy and thinking, but it's also about being calm, supporting that whatever you want to do next. It's great to teach your children to do it along with you. Do it when you're stressed, do it when you're not stressed, at any point. There's no limit or anything with this, but this is something great to like build into your routine. Before you face the day, just tap your 4 to 3. And any differences, any changes you're experiencing right now with your breathing after doing this technique, remember, the power is not, the technique is awesome, I know that, but the power is not in it. The power is in your own body's healing. And this is what I want to demonstrate to you today. What is actually possible for you? 5 minutes of focus, 5 minutes of shifting perspective, and what your body and mind can do. There is no limit. This is the way it's designed. Allah is infinite, and therefore there is no limit to your healing, to how you can change and how you can grow. And that's really what I want you to take away from today.
Thank you so much, Taskeen. We talk about this so much, and every time we just a greater and greater awareness. Taskeen, because we've run over time so much, I'm just going to open it up quickly to the participants who are around. Again, there are so many people who are going to be so upset about not being able to log on. So I usually take about a week or 2 to edit the videos, and I'm going to prioritize it and just put it right up there because I owe it to them and to you. Okay, inshallah. Right. Anyone want to share anything with us or ask Taskeen any questions? I mean, I always have questions for Taskeen, so it's someone else's turn now. Or your experience with Body Talk, whether this has created more questions, more answers, why you thought about joining us today. We'll just open it up for 2 or 3 minutes.
And it is one.
Just unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself and just go ahead and chat.